So I went to sleep and I woke up a couple of times, and yes, I do have a very sick feeling all over my body after breathing in the air and the exhalations of my roommate. I do feel very sick. Not very sick, but very sick. And yesterday I went to the precinct, and like they have before, they threatened to call the mental hospital to grab me and take me to the mental hospital. But I went to sleep last night and woke up 5 times. And it's still dark outside. And I'm not loud enough to wake up my roommate, but he's moving around anyway. And the sun looks like it doesn't even want to come up. So that I'm scared that the sun will never come up today. And as personally frightened as I am for my individual self, that I now live in a world with no sunlight. And as scared as I am of biblical prophecy coming true from the book of Revelation, they do not need the sun, for they have the light of the Son of God. Scary prospect. But I do think that it's appropriate, because it's the 4th of July, and America has forgotten how to value independence, or why this country even exists. And why we broke away from the British Empire, and why we celebrate that we broke away from the British Empire. Now, old ladies at the grocery store show up at the grocery store within a half an hour of the grocery store closing, and instead of being committed to bringing back our economy, she is simping to the ideal of the worker's troubles in a Whole Foods, working as a, she's like, oh, but I respect the workers. Because she's so, in an afraid tone. In an afraid tone. Excuse me 1 second. Why am I sick right now? Why did I have sweats last night? Why did I wake up 5 times? Is it because that you're not real? Why am I sick right now? Why did I wake up 5 times? Why was I sweating last night? Why am I scared that I died and I woke up in a place where there's no sunlight? Why do I have to feel Like I woke up with sweats. Why is that? Is it because that you're sleeping right above me? Like you moved from one bedroom to the other? Now you're sleeping above me and there's no you? There's no you to think that no one wants to judge you and no one wants to hate you? There's no you. There's only the disease and all of the excuses and the anger that I can expect from you. Like you're a person. Look how dark it is on 4th of July. You know how many times I went to sleep and woke back up? The first time I went to sleep and woke up, it could have been like the sun coming up already. I went to sleep and woke up 5 times. Each time was like a 4-hour stint. That means 20 hours of sleep and the sun didn't come up. And I went to sleep at like somewhere around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Went to sleep, woke up 5 times. Sun didn't come up. The precinct, when I went to go fill out paperwork, they went, boo. I said, no, you're not taking me, I'm leaving. I'm going to take you to the mental hospital. And all the bodies, oh my goodness, the bodies. New York has always been a place where a lot of people walk around depressed and miserable all the time. It's not new. But on the 4th of July, I mean, no Puerto Rican Day Parade. There's been fireworks, but the President of the United States, for 2 presidencies, has been dealing with a hellish media. Maybe it's always been that way. Probably has always been that way, and I just grew up to notice. I'm so angry and scared. I'm scared that, like my dad, that I couldn't stop loving my dad. I couldn't stop depending on him. And it undermined my entire motivation. Now this sociopathic moron, I don't use the word sociopath and I don't use the word moron because people have called me so many names while I've tried being their friend and just trying being not happy because happy's gay, not positive because positive is tyrannical, not friendly because friendly is childish and naive, not brotherly because this guy's brother killed himself and it's very no one's going to try to be his brother because his brother already killed himself. So what did I try to be with people? Civil, cordial. How about those words? The other day I heard a 40 to 50-year-old African-American woman say indubitably. I was like, I don't know what that word means. I might use it, but like I'm an American, I watch TV, I went to public school, but I don't get to say indubitably. Why do you get to say indubitably? Bit of a Seinfeld moment right there. No, because we're all more upset. We're all more upset that I knocked on this guy's window while he was sleeping. Because it's him that's important. It's him that's important. If I upset him, it's him that's important. It shouldn't be that way. I want you to imagine a hammer, says the voice, sitting on top of sand in a bucket. Now, he doesn't describe it that way. He always starts with the bucket. Then he tells you that there's sand in it, and then he tells you that there's a hammer on top. Because why would you create sand without a bucket? And why would you put the hammer on the sand that doesn't exist? But I say, I want you to imagine a hammer sitting on sand in a bucket. Now vibrate the bucket. What happens to the hammer? The hammer slowly gets surrounded and drowns socially and emotionally in a city full of worshipers who only know how to treat people that are different, like royalty, to look away from them. But it's appropriate that the 4th of July start with a night that never ends. And a supernatural fear of never-ending darkness and cold, like a Twilight Zone episode. Because it's not a small thing. It isn't like, oh, Manhattan, New York is filled with depressed people. It isn't just that. It's that the bodies don't know how to celebrate the 4th of July. And they haven't known how to celebrate the 4th of July in years. People are shooting fireworks. But you've so surrounded me with people that are begging me to murder them. You've so surrounded me with betrayers that abandon me at the moment that I do anything offensive. You know how it is. You should be living through it too. The media is showing me that everyone's going through the same thing that I am. It's me and you and everybody is going through the same thing where it's like, it must be delicious. It must be too delicious to try and scare you into thinking that you did something wrong. And it must be too pleasurable to break friendship and leave and excommunicate someone from a social group, social circle. It must be too good. It must feel too good. The way that the smallest thing is going to be the reason why. The smallest thing is going to be the reason why that you can't have friends. And the authority that they cling to they say politically incorrect. They say politically incorrect or like whatever. Back in the day, it used to be inappropriate. That's how you're being inappropriate. No, it's that they want daddy hands. Because that's the scary thing. Let's bring it back to while we sit and we are scared that the sun will never come up. Let's bring it back to like something that's political so that we feel like real life is real and we can like kind of feel comfortable in our pet peeves. So that's the thing about the liberal left or the coastal elites. Anybody else, any other group of people, they would acquire power, they would, on the board, they would acquire power, they would acquire influence, property, positions. They would win groups of people, loyalty from groups of people. But after a certain point, they would have to stop because acquiring more power would put at risk the power that they have. Acquiring more territory would put at risk losing it all. But the coastal elites and the liberals they're not acquiring power and expanding their territory for their children or their children's children. They're not acquiring power or territory out of a sense of responsibility and preservation because they're surrounded by irresponsible, poor managers of resources and very bad stewards. No, they're acquiring power and they're aggressively expanding their territory in the hopes, and in the United States of America, in the hopes that Midwestern patriots will storm the cities and drag them out of their sky castles. That's why they're not going to stop. And it puts everyone in danger with how ambitious their expansive empirical expansion can get. And undermining the foundations of our humanity, what we called the nuclear family, heteronormative procreation, biologically speaking, undermining these standards and undermining these institutions with the truth, saying a truth that deceives. You know, I don't know why I don't get to write speeches for Donald Trump, other than that the fiction that I've read makes it scary to do that. In a comic book I read, there's this guy, he's a writer for the President of the United States, and then he goes camping with his male friend, and they're like buddies, like, hey, we're gonna go camping. And they get abducted by aliens and their bodies get replaced with these concrete behemoth bodies. Their brains get taken out of their brains and put into these concrete bodies. This is in a comic book graphic novel called Concrete Strange Armor. He doesn't have any